الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين سيما ولي الله الحجة بن الحسن صاحب الأمر والزمان اللهم صل على محمد
وآل
روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد إخواني Majlis Khitam, our final majlis in regards to this series that we began close to 2 weeks ago, Yawmul Qiyamah. And I understand that this has been a heavy series of lectures in terms of information to absorb, information to implement, and the various emotions that we ourselves experience during the majlis or after the majlis as we contemplate and we think about what has been recited and what awaits us in that destiny. Taking lessons from this is what is required in order for us to fulfill the purpose of Shahrul Ramadan, which is taqwa, and the purpose of our existence, which is taqwa. Inshallah, these are the founding steps. These are the first steps towards this great journey. And the person should always keep in mind that you take one step towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes 10 steps towards you, 100 steps towards you. For we're not alone in this journey. In any case, continuing from where we left off yesterday, our kalam and our conversation was on understanding shaitan, understanding Iblis. Who is he in terms of his creation from the jinn? Is he a loner or does he have an army? We understood from the Quran, la, he doesn't work alone. He's not a solo worker. Rather, he has an army designated or appointed or influenced which carries out his agendas. This army of shayateen are from the jinn, and this army of the shayateen are also from the human beings, from mankind. And we are understanding the ethos of shaitan, the goal of shaitan to misguide human beings. And then we identified the two strategies that shaitan implements to misguide people. One of them being that he beautifies the dunya for you and everything within the dunya. Hence, the expression, the sweetness of sin or the forbidden fruit is the sweetest one. This is the job of shaitan. Call it marketing, call it advertising. The most ugly, the most despicable acts which a person can commit, shaitan makes you perceive that it is the most beautiful one. Bain al-Qawsayn, between brackets, Bain al-Qawsayn, if you actually, something light inshallah, sometimes within the marketing and the advertising industry, I think to myself, the best lessons that could take is from shaitan. Sometimes the most useless commodity, the most useless product you can find in the market, with the barakat of marketing and advertising, they can make you feel and you can perceive that it is the most important commodity in your life. If you do not have it, your life is not complete. Your success is not possible. In the end, the reality is that the product is absolutely useless. You can do without it. This is the jobs of shaitan. And you see many things that we take from these lessons and these tricks of shaitan and the emotions and the attitudes that the people go through Yawmul Qiyamah. It is not only for understanding a future law. These are lessons that we take in today's life, to implement in today's life. To make our akhirah better, we need to improve our life on dunya. In any case, this was our kalam, the strategies of shaitan. Number one, he beautifies the sin. Number two, shaitan has a double-edged sword or a two-pronged strategy, where not only does he make sin look beautiful, but as we saw yesterday, he took an oath to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he will corrupt the religion from within. He will come and misguide people in the name of religion. In the name of religion, he will take people out of religion. And this is what we identified. All this was by way of introduction, because the main kalam that we wanted to get towards was the conversation that man will have with shaitan on Yawmul Qiyamah. We said that man will have a number of conversations, number of scenarios. There is one time where a father is fleeing from the mother and the son is fleeing from the father. The parents are fleeing from the children. Friends are fleeing from each other because of this hukuk, because of these rights that were usurped, or this dhulm that was done to them. Friends who misguided each other, who were partners in crime in the dunya and enjoyed committing sin together, when they enter into Jahannam, they will be sending la'na on each other. Each one telling Allah, Ya Allah, Fulan is the one who misguided me, so punish him twice as much. Between all these different conversations, or all these different scenarios and venues of interaction, you have an ultimate conversation, man. And this is a conversation with Iblis, with shaitan, the man himself in the fire of Jahannam. Look at this conversation. Surah Al-Ibrahim, verse number 22. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ. And shaitan will declare, shaitan will speak, when the final decree has been made and he has been condemned towards eternal damnation for the chaos and the havoc that he created on earth. إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَعَدَكُمْ وَعَدَ الْحَقِّ. Iblis will tell people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the dunya, through the Anbiya and through the A'imma, gave you a promise of haqq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invited you towards truth. And Allah fulfilled that truth and that promise. Ajib. This is Iblis. Iblis telling you, in the dunya, Allah was right. Ani, Iblis, I'm saying, I never said that Allah is lying. I am confessing to you, Allah was right in everything that He did. وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. And I even made a promise to you. And I even gave you many hopes. And I gave you many dreams. The difference between the hope and the promise that I gave you and the promise that God gave you is that God is true to the fulfillment of His promise, while I deceived you. Openly shaitan admits, I deceived you. Yalla, what can you do now? فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَنْ دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. Shaitan will say on the day of judgment, oh man, I never had any power over you. I never had an ounce of authority over you. All I did is that I whispered to you. Da'awtukum. I called you. I invited you. I gave you a proposal. I didn't put a gun on your head and force you to sin. I had absolutely no authority over you. You are the one who responded to me. I never put a trigger on I never pulled a trigger on you. In fact, I could not do anything except play around with the faculty of your emotions and conjure for you a perception like a mirage. And you came running towards me. Now from this, we're able to take a positive lesson. When it comes to building the power of resistance within us in regards to not falling prey to temptation, no matter how sweet that sin looks, no matter how enticing that sin is, Ikhwani, shaitan does not have an ounce of authority over you if you have harnessed and you have cultivated within you the power of determination. There is not a single force in the earth that can make you perform a sin. It's about your mental strength. It's about your determination. It's about you realizing the reality of the ugliness of this sin, which has just been beautifully marketed in front of you. And you see, at the end of the day, it is nothing but baseless marketing and advertising. فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. So do not blame me on the day of judgment, rather blame yourselves. Because you are the one who came running and responding to me. From here you learn a number of things. Number one, the trickery of shaitan is as weak as the house of a spider, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this example within the Quran. Number two, you learn that, see, between brackets again, Bain al-Qawsayn, that in life, even in life, many times we blame the situation and the circumstances around us. We are not successful because of fulan. We are not successful because of this, because of that. Every barrier or every challenge is seen as an impediment. Ikhwani, Allah has taught a mu'min to be fearless and to be courageous in every aspect of your life. Much as this is a lesson to be implemented in the deen, it is a lesson to be implemented in the dunya, because the dunya is created for us in order to better our deen. The dunya is created such that you can gain the akhirah through the dunya. Even when it comes to life, when it comes to business, when it comes to your studies, shabab, be fearless, be courageous. Do not blame everything and everyone in the environment, or do not blame the circumstances around you. Those who have been successful in life have been successful because they have overcome the barriers and the challenges in front of them. When they looked at a challenge, they took it head on. They were fearless. And the same thing when it comes to deen. It's difficult, it's time consuming. Akhi, take this challenge head on. Confront this shaitan head on, in the same way that you do for your business and for your school. Mu'min is that person. In his dictionary, this word I cannot do does not exist. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the power of intellect through which you are able to conquer the earth and the skies and the seas. Through this intellect, you are able to buy for yourself the highest level of Jannah. And you're not alone. You have the blessings of Ahlul Bayt. You have on your side an Imam whose title is Qasimun Nari wal Jannah. You have Amirul Mu'mineen whose title is the divider of heaven and hell. You have personalities such as Sayyid al-Shuhada. People don't have this blessing. People are mahroom from this. There is no reason for us not to progress, neither in the dunya nor in the akhirah. It comes to determination, comes to ability, It comes to having a strong resolve. Person cannot expect to attain Jannah without any barriers, without any trickery from shaitan. His hurdles are there, but they are there for you to jump over. And the most important thing is that shaitan lets the secret out of the bag. If it's only we took lesson from the Quran, he tells you, he's confessing for you, I don't have mastery over you. We need to have that self-confidence and that boost within us and that morale and that josh and that heat to implement the religion, to serve the religion. إلا أن دعوتكم فاستجبتم لي فلا تلوموني ولوموا أنفسكم. Another lesson here. فلا تلوموني ولوموا أنفسكم. Do not blame me and blame yourselves. Ikhwani, if you look at the trend over the days of the last few days in the lectures Yawmul Qiyamah, you find that one of the reasons why man ends up in Nar Jahannam is because he is not man enough to admit to his sins. He cannot accept that he is wrong. Over these last few nights, how many excuses we have seen? Nar Jahannam is in front of him. He said, Ya Allah, I blame my parents. Nar Jahannam is in front of him. He blamed his friends. Nar Jahannam is in front of him. He blamed shaitan. Nar Jahannam is in front of him. He tried to lie to Allah. Nar Jahannam is in front of him. He tried to run away from Jahannam. Nothing worked. This is a lesson, human psychology. The downfall of man begins when he is too arrogant to accept and admit to his mistakes. Even when it comes to Jahannam, instead of putting his hands up and saying, Ya Allah, forgive me, I am the one who sinned. No, he says, Ya Allah, blame shaitan. He blames the entire dunya except himself. This is the fundamental lesson to take from the character of the people who end up in Jahannam. That even while they are roasting in hell, they can't see the mistake within them. They say the mistake in somebody else. Hence the importance of istighfar. Importance of acknowledging when I'm wrong. It doesn't make a person less of a man to admit that he's made a mistake. In this day and age, a man is a man when he accepts he's made a mistake. Even when it comes to tabligh, to myself and to anybody on the member, there is no shame in saying, I don't know. Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. He says half of ilm is saying, I don't know. Sometimes I feel, no, I have to protect my position and I become arrogant. If I tell the people I don't know, they will not take me to be an alim or a teacher or a muballigh or whatever it is. And out of that arrogance, I go and I give a wrong answer. Ya akhi. Why? We saw yesterday that one misdaq of the shaitan from the human being is the one who speaks about Islam when he doesn't aslan know anything about Islam. Lessons that we use in life in order to further the akhirah. And then he goes on to say, فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not blame me, blame yourselves. بَعد مَا أَنَا بِمُصْرِخِكُمْ وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُصْرِخِيَّ إِنِّي كَفَرْتُ بِمَا أَشْرَكْتُمُونِي مِنْ قَبْلَ إِنَّ الظَّالِمِينَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Shaitan says, do not blame me, blame yourselves. Indeed, today is a day where I cannot help you and neither can you help me. Ajib. Meaning what? Why is Shaitan saying today is a day that I cannot help you? He is only saying this in retaliation or in response that even on Yawmul Qiyamah, while people are burning in Jahannam, they will still go to Shaitan and say to him, Shaitan, save me from this Nar Jahannam. Akia Mungu sasa uniambie. If this guy doesn't deserve to be chomored in that Jahannam, what do you expect? While in the adab and in the punishment, instead of going to Allah, he went to Jahannam. Afwan, he went to Shaitan. It's not a surprise. Bani Adam, the same characters that he has in the Akhirah, the same characters in the dunya. Even in the dunya, Jahannam, take Jahannam to be a place of difficulty. Sahih, place of adab, place of difficulty. Even in the dunya, we do the same thing. When we are in Jahannam, yani when we are encompassed in difficulties and trials and tribulations, instead of seeking help from Allah, we went to seek help from Shaitan. When my rizq is limited and I am trialed and tribulated and cash flow is bad and people are not paying my money, instead of me having tawakkul on Allah, I went to Shaitan and went and sought for rizq which is haram. Sahih Lola. People in the dunya, instead of resorting to Allah during the time of difficulty, they resort to Shaitan. فَإِنْتُمْ لَا تَسْتَغْرِبُوا. Do not be surprised. Do not be amazed. Yani ajib, how man goes to Shaitan. Lord, is the same characters of the dunya that are manifesting themselves in the akhirah. And this now is the height of deception that breaks man totally. He says to him, Inni kafartu bima ashraktumuni min qabl. All this shirk that you did, all this misguidance and this deviancy, what you did shirk in, I even reject that what you did shirk in. Allah, imagine, Shaitan, who made man believe that idol is God, on the day of judgment he'll say, that what you took God, even me, I do kufr in that God. I don't believe in that God. In the dunya, I convinced you that money can be God. I do kufr in that God. I don't believe in that God. I just deceived you. To gando kon che? Shaitan che ke Bani Adam che? Who is the crazy one? Shaitan or Bani Adam? Bani Adam for following him. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. All in all, ya ikhwani, when you look at the difficulties of the day of judgment and the fact that it's 50,000 years and all this fituko and all this fujo and all this accountability that is going to happen there, I want to end this series of majlis with a glimmer of hope. It gives you that itmi'nan on how we're going to face this day of judgment and what we can do for our sins. My answer to you, and the answer that you will get from the hadith sharif, salvation on the day of judgment, well, none of us are ma'soom. Yes, we're believers, we have good deeds and we have bad deeds. Good deeds keep on the side for now. Whether they're accepted or they're not accepted, whether they were with ikhlas or not, we touched upon it. Keep it on one side. But our bad deeds, where are we going to get salvations for the bad deeds that we have committed? None of us are ma'soom, and the expectation is that we cannot be ma'soom. Man inherently commits errors. The idea is to minimize the errors that we commit. But for the sins that we do, Ya Allah, what is the solution? Search the entire deen, ahibba'i, believe me, mark my words, you find that the solution is Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Two things with Imam al-Hussein: implementing the values and the lessons from Karbala, number one, and the aza of Imam al-Hussein. To grow within our hearts the love of Imam al-Hussein. We said, Yawmul Qiyamah, man is going to be taken into account for every deed. If you remember the verse of the Quran with the books, where everyone is given his book of deeds, and within this book is like an entire video, day by day of your life, from the time that you were born to the time that you die. Every single thing is recorded within these books when they are given to you. Man himself is ashamed because of the sins that he committed in private, and he thought nobody would know. Now they have come up. The answer is Imam al-Hussein. Hadith al-Sharif by Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, Kamil al-Ziyarat, he says, Man zara al-Hussein ibn Ali arifan bihaqqih, غفر الله ما تقدم من ذنبي وما تأخر. The one who performs the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein while knowing, arifan bihaqqih, fully knowing the rights of Imam al-Hussein, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives for him the sins that he has committed of the past and sins of even his parents. Ma taqaddam, the sins that he committed in the past, not only his, but even of that of his parents. وَمَا تَأَخَّرْ, sins of the future. Now, sins of the future, what does it mean? Many times people think, okay, when they read this hadith, if you go for the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, he will forgive all the sins that you are yet to commit. So they take it as a license to do everything that is haram. That's not the case. La. Ta'akhar, there is an explanation for that. Akhaf, this is an entire majlis on its own. But in summary, the ziyarah, if performed in the right spirit, will prevent you from committing any other further sins in the future. This is the meaning of ta'akhar in summary. In any case, ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, what is the value of this ziyarah? Be it Ashura, be it Arba'in or Arafah, any time in the year, ya ikhwani, encourage yourselves, encourage your families to go and pledge allegiance to Imam al-Hussein. Serve Imam al-Hussein from Mombasa here. Within your communities, the values of Imam al-Hussein, the love of Imam al-Hussein. Hadith al-Sharif says, we said on the other day, Yawm al-Qiyamah is equivalent to 50,000 years. Every station, 50 stations, Yawmul Qiyamah, each station is equivalent to 1,000 years. Hadith al-Sharif, again, Kamilu Ziyarat, I advise myself and I advise my brothers and my sisters, Kamilu Ziyarat is an absolutely vital, important text to have in the house. It's even translated in English. A must have. If you have gone for ziyarah or you have not gone for, if you have gone for ziyarah, use this book to motivate yourself how to recite ziyarah, what to recite for every imam, multiple types of different ziyarat we have. Those of us who are double-minded, should we go, should we not go? By Kamilu Ziyarat, you will take your first ticket to Najaf al-Ashraf or Karbala al-Muqaddas. Kamilu Ziyarat is that text that builds within you overflowing love of Ahlul Bayt. A lot of the problems that we have in the community can be solved if we have this common love for Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein is that gelling factor. We learn from Imam al-Hussein, he doesn't like munafiqs. Out of our love for Imam al-Hussein, we remove nifaq from our hearts. Ikhwani, this world is a jungle. This world is a ruthless jungle. Nobody has mercy on anybody. Saddikoni, believe me. There is no one to look out for you as a community until and unless you look out for yourselves. And if this unity and this love and this brotherhood is broken from within us, those from outside will devour us without us even knowing. This is not a dunya where people have raham on each other. We need to be close-knit. Imam al-Hussein is this solution and this gelling factor within a community. Ikhwani, Hadith al-Sharif, as we were saying, Yawm al-Station, 1,000 years. I had a question from one of our brothers in the nights before. How will we get through this 50,000 years? Is there a fast track route? Have you seen many times when you're in an airport and you have fast track checking in, going in, passing through the customs, you have fast track? or unless you are a VIP or a VVIP, you get to Peter Customs without any questions being asked. Your mzigos are not even taken through that X-ray, red carpet, straight into the plane. Do we have this Yawmul Qiyamah? Billah, on the member of Abu Abdullah. Yes, we have this. And there is no shyness in this. Because these are people who deserve it. Hadith Sharif mentions, again, Imam Sadiq Kamilu Ziyarat. He says to one of his companions, Inna li Zuwar al-Husayn fadlan ajib. Yawmul Qiyamah, on the day of judgment, Imam Sadiq says the Zawar, the visitors of Imam al-Husayn, have a certain daraja, VVIP, certain daraja, fadl, over the rest of the people. The companion says to Imam al-Sadiq, what is this fadl, or what is this status, or this benefit, or this pass that nobody else has? He says, يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ بِأَرْبَعِينَ عَامٍ قَبْلَ النَّاسِ. They will enter into Jannah 40 years before anybody else. 40, yani 40 from the Akhirah, which we said is equivalent to 1,000 of this dunya. يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةِ وَبَاكِرُ وَالنَّاسِ وَسَائِرُ النَّاسِ فِي الْحِسَابِ وَالْمَحْشَرِ. While people are on the plains of judgment, fighting it out with each other, blaming each other, seeking rights from each other, nar, jahannam, all that gasiya and futuko that we saw in the last few nights, there is a group of people who fast track right into Jannah. Imam as-Sadiq, Sadiq Ahlul Bayt, tells us this is the daraja of a person who does the ziyarah of Imam al-Husayn. Ziyarah with ma'rifah. What does it mean to do ziyarah? What values are encompassed in this ziyarah? Who is this Imam al-Husayn? It is this aza and this love of Imam al-Husayn that has kept our madhab alive for 1400 years. And it is this service to Imam al-Husayn that will keep the madhab alive until the dhuhur of the Imam. Inviting other people to the cause of Imam al-Husayn. The tabligh opportunities that you have here in Mombasa, with all the different institutions, whether they're doing work in humanitarian channels, in ideological channels. Take advantage, shabab, youth, be part of these movements. Serve your jamaats, go out for volunteering work, be it Bilal, be it any other. Take this love and this ownership to serve your deen. Prove by action, by your time and your wealth, that you are a dedicated servant, an enlisted employee in the government of the Imam when your Imam is in Ghaibah. Take this challenge head on, and you will see the realms of the dunya and the akhirah open up for you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ikhwani, Masa'ib for tonight, Masa'ib Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen. This is that lady of khair and this lady of barakah. Hadith Sharif mentions that Yawmul Qiyamah, when Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen is called into the mahshar, an angel will cry out, O men, O humans, O mankind, lower your heads, for indeed the daughter of Rasulullah is coming through. The Hadith Sharif mentions that even Nabiullah Ibrahim shall lower his head in respect for Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra. She will come in a heavenly camel, surrounded by 70,000 angels. She comes towards the Arsh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells her, O daughter of the Prophet, enter into Jannah. Sayyidah Zahra takes a step forward and she stops. She stops. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks her, O daughter of my Prophet, why do you not enter Jannah? She turns around, she says, Ya Allah, I want to be recognized. In the dunya, I was never recognized. My haqq was trampled upon. People didn't know the value of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra. She says, Ya Allah, I want my value to be recognized. How is Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra recognized on the Day of Judgment? How do people learn about the azama, appreciate the azama of Sayyidah az-Zahra? Allah will say, ask and I shall give you. She will say, Ya Allah, I shall not enter into Jannah until those who loved me and loved my children, I make them enter into Jannah. The hadith says she will come into the mahshar and she will pick the Shias and the lovers of her and her children and her husband, pick them from the mahshar and take them towards Jannah, in the same way that a bird comes and pecks each and every one of these seeds that are scattered on the earth. This is Fatima az-Zahra, and this is an honor that we call ourselves from the lovers and the followers of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, and hence we seek barakah by remembering her masa'ib. The narrations mention that upon the martyrdom of Rasulullah, Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra was overcome by pain and grief, and the fact that the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen was usurped from him. Amir al-Mu'mineen decided to remain within the house, and he took an oath that he would not come back out until he had completed compiling the entire Quran, yani the tafsir of the Quran. The narrations mention that the party of evil went and they gathered within the Saqifa, and then they came forcefully towards the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen to seek his bay'ah. The first 2 times they came to the house, Amir al-Mu'mineen sent them back. The third time they came towards the house, the narrations mention they cried out from behind the door. They cried out, they said, come out ya Ali and give bay'ah to the Khalifa of the Muslimin. At that moment, Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra came and she stood behind the door. The narrations mention that she had a bandage tied around her head due to the fever and due to the weakness, grieving for her father. She cried out and she said, how evil is this ummah upon the martyrdom of my father. They cried out and they said, why has Ali sent you while he himself is sitting in the house? So Sayyidah Zahra replied and said, it is your evil that has compelled me to come out and to give you the final hujjah. The narrations mention that Sayyidah Zahra said to them, have you forgotten the covenant that you gave my father? The dialogue continued between them until the Fir'aun of this ummah cried out and he abused Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, saying to her, stop the stupidity of the women. Astaghfirullah wa la'ayadu billah. The narrations mention that Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra began to cry. She lifted up her hands and she said, oh my father, Ya Rasulullah, how evil has this ummah been towards me after your death. So the of the ummah said, if you do not open the door, we shall burn it down upon you. They said to him, will you burn the house when Hassan and Hussein are inside? He said, wa in, even if they are there. The narrations mention then they took the torches. There were 300 men, the narrations mention, 300 men with their horses that had surrounded the house of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra. They brought wooden torches and they lit them on fire. The narrations mention that they lit a part of the door of the house of Fatima on fire. As the flames were burning, the Fir'aun of the Ummah kicked the door in such a manner. Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra was crushed between the door and the wall. She cried out, Ya Abata, Ya Rasulallah, Allah, Allah. Haniyanakum shi'at Fatima. These tears are going to be shafa'ah for us on the Day of Judgment. Sulaim bin Qais al-Hilali says, I asked Salman, tell me about the nail on the door. Salman says, and how do you ask about the nail? The narrations mention that there was a nail that was protruding from the door. But when Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra was crushed between the door and the wall, this nail punctured the lung of Sayyidah Fatima. She fell down, her rib was broken. She herself says that when I fell down to the ground, I was choking from the flames of the door. Allah, Allah. Remember, Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra was pregnant with Muhsin. In which culture, in which religion is a pregnant woman dealt with in this manner? The narrations mention the Fir'aun of the Ummah came in and he kicked Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra with all his strength in the stomach. She cried out, Wa Muhsina! Muhsin has become shaheed. Oh Fidda, come and help me. My heart bleeds for that Fatima who lay in a pool of blood with a broken rib and scars on her body. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. اللهم إنا نسألك بحق سيدة فاطمة الزهراء اللهم عجل لولينا الفرج. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the sake of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra to hasten the reappearance of Imam al-Hujjah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the sake of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra for us to be eligible to be amongst the Ashab and the Ansar of Imam al-Hujjah. Ya Allah, by the sake of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, we ask Allah to forgive us our sins on a night like this. Ya Allah, by the sake of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, Ya Allah, do not deny us the shafa'ah of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra on the day of judgment. Ya Allah, by the sake of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, mu'mineen and mu'minat who have gathered here today, do not let any one of them leave except that you have fulfilled their hajat. Ya Allah, mu'mineen and mu'minat who are not in the best of health, you grant them shafa'ah. Ya Allah, mu'mineen and mu'minat who have passed away, you make their graves into a garden from the gardens of Jannah. Ya Allah. وآخر الدعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. يقول الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.